Friends, here we are. I don't know why the window capture sometimes doesn't work. Boom. But there it is, my friends. Boom. So, let's get into it. I'm going to, we got a lot today. It's gotten to the point where it's hard to do it in one show. We got 24, dude. And just say, the bummer for me is, it makes it so it's harder for me to pay attention in the way I'd like to. I like to dwell, on especially people who've done a lot of work. I want to dwell on what they've done. So DBL clicks on a watch streak. Nice, dude. Okay, here's Ramen. He says, I'm graduating as I've completed all the tasks. Now, again, it's not about the tasks, it's about the rating. I haven't achieved the required rating, but I need to start looking at new material. I have struggled since joining as I quit playing openings and just tried to figure it out. I kept getting in poor positions and my ratings just sunk. As my ratings sunk, I began to lose confidence. I also decided to enter a tournament as I thought I could play some competition in my range and build some confidence back. That didn't go as planned, as I ended up playing strong players around 800 points better than me, 0 out of 3. So after 5 weeks of struggling, I started to play my openings again. No. No. My rating on Chess.com is finally inching up, but that was only yesterday. I think I'm stressing out over being left behind in my cohort. Okay, so what we need to do is take a look at Ramen and just see what's going on here. So somebody just started recently, 58 years old. Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm going to say, hopefully we'll have some games to look at. I'm going to follow Ramen here. But my suspicion is that you're hanging pieces left and right. That has nothing to do with your openings. So let's take a look. In fact, just straight at the games. Let's go. So first of all, great that you've done this work. And here we go. Now again, I think at this level, it doesn't help to know openings. Case in point, this dude just chucks a pawn, right? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Then you ask yourself, what's wrong with c3? It's not helping bring out his pieces. What would have been better? Probably bishop b5. Let's call that a mouselet. Okay, so Ramen, look. When your opponent played knight g5, boss, you got to play e6 here, man. You got to play e6. This has nothing to do with your openings, I promise you. Nothing to do with your openings. And then here, you don't have to give up the rook, dude. You don't have to. And now you need to play, well, now you're totally toast. That's a bad move. And then here c6 is a bad move because it gets to take on f8 now. So look, as I suggested earlier on, it's about you hanging stuff at this level. Now let's go look at your activity. Something I want to stress too is it's not necessarily an easy thing to learn how to not hang stuff. I mean, maybe people will be condescending and tell you it's easy. No, it's not. I've taught a lot of people, and you are doing the work, my friend. So, I'm interested. I'm interested in you making it. First, let's take a look at the ratings. So you bumped yourself up, and you actually are okay. See, you're at 355. So it's okay for you to graduate here. Perhaps actually you graduated and then attained the rating. That might be what happened here. At least you've had a good run of it here. And then I think you also have an OTB going on. All right, let's look at the activity. So, right, this looks good, man. This looks good. And so one of the things, this is very important for the dojo training program, is that at these lower levels, the key problem will be, are you hanging stuff? And does the material that we provide help you get over that? So the main things would be this kind of work here. And actually, let's look training plan. So, yeah, you're already in the next one. It's actually kind of tricky here. It seems like you're in the next cohort and you've already done a lot of it, a lot of the work. Okay. So then we have this. This is all really good, man. This is all really good. And Raman, I want to stress, because you are doing the work, boss, I'm all in on your journey. I think this is it. This is really important. And a lot of people say this level is easy, blah, blah, blah. Not necessarily so. And what you're doing is you're hanging pieces. So we have to, you're not going to cure it in a day, but we need to get you better at it, boss. Let's look at one more game. By the way, your development, fine. And, not great. You could take it here, but you didn't hang the piece. Totally bizarre, right? Totally bizarre. Okay. Good. 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 This game, by the way, you're crushing this person here. Good. Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, there we go. And this is what it's going to look like. In fact, a lot of games are going to look like this, where you're playing someone at this level and they will be dropping the pieces. And so that was encouraging here. If you can play like that here, let's just see if you hang anything. Again, your number one goal here is not to hang anything. That's all we're really caring about. Good. 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 Okay. Good. Fantastic. Trade it off. Ah, beautiful. Oh, look at that. Oh, you're not going to take the knight. There we go. Look at that, boss. Look at that. So the difference between this game and the first one we looked at, just night and day, man. Night and day. Okay, Raman, so listen up, man. I'm going to keep an eye on you, buddy. And I want you to make it here. It seems like you have oh, wait a second. That's kind of confusing, because it says your new cohort is 400 to 500, but then on your page, it still says 300 to 400. Right? It says here, it still says 300 to 400. Now, I would encourage you actually to stay here. You will make it, my friend. You will make it. You played it, and we did a great dojo talks yesterday about old people like me and playing chess, and it's not necessarily an easy gig. He asked for his graduation to be canceled. Okay. I think it's okay. Cancel the graduation. That's fine. He must have graduated and then gone back. But Raman, I'm very happy that we're looking at your situation here, because I want you to know that I'm sure it's a real struggle for you, and we want to make it so that the program will get you to the next level. You're doing the work, and I just want to say the second game, if you play consistently like that, you will be well beyond this 300 to 400 cohort. And I'm encouraged as well by this latest trend here, even though clearly you had a moment of despair. Okay, so Raman, I'm going to keep my eye on you. Oh, and I just realized something. We have to look at ambush. I have to look at ambush because I missed a graduation show and I missed some stuff, and Ambush turned me onto it. So at the very minimum, I want to look at his situation because he's graduated a number of times. Really cool. Wait, Ambush, what are you doing? Oh, wait, that one's. So Ambush is really weird, buddy. Oh, Ambush, what's going on, bud? You're a normalized 566. No, Ambush. Something's happening here. Ambush, you got to go back. You got to go back, dude. Maybe you had a Elite Chess or something graduation. Okay. Actually, so I'll try to figure that out next time. So, graduations. We had Ramen. Now we have Sergeant Tom, who's also graduated twice. Making progress, it's time to move up. Still haven't figured out how to participate in the endgame exercises. It's a great training program. Let's take a quick look. So you go material. This is really cool. You go sparring positions, and there's two kinds, the endgame win conversions and then these ones. But I think this is your cohort here. This would be algorithm 1. And the cool thing here is it's best to do this with a partner, but you can definitely take the Fen to chess.com and play against one of the bots there. I think that, and you can even get a lower rated bot. I would even encourage you to do that because we don't want you beating a grandmaster here. We want you beating somebody at your own level. And then the cool thing is then you click, if you're playing with a friend, you click the challenge URL, you go to Elite Chess, and then you just send them to them, and then boom, it starts immediately. Okay, so let's go back. Newsfeed, view all. And so Sergeant Tom, let's check it out. Beautiful. Sergeant Tom, dude, he's ready to go again. He's ready to go again over here. And we're going to take a step back. Doing a lot of tactics work. Good. I gave everyone's first chess workbook to a couple kids in my life, and they're all going for it, dude. They love it. So I think I'm really pumped with that book. I think I'll do a review. Going to Charlotte, where the author lives. I'm going there tomorrow, playing a big tournament. Let's check out this one. Okay. So a little light on the annotations at the beginning. We could talk about a lot of different moves here. We definitely want to talk about Bishop F6. So, the annotations, we want more from these annotations. So you're down a piece, Bows. Down a piece. So we could say all kinds of stuff about the game, but where the game is being decided is on this mistake. That's where it's all going to pot, right? Because you're losing a piece. So we want you to say something about that in the annotation. Let's take another one. Okay. I think Bishop D3 is fine. And now we might have wanted to play knight takes instead of queen takes. And now queen a5 might be annoying. That doesn't make any sense. You should castle. And now this. And then you're toast. I think we actually looked at this game at your last graduation. So, Sergeant Tom, as is typical for this phase in a player's development, it's about hanging pieces, right? That's where things are going wrong for you. And so one thing I'll stress is you've got some games going on, and I like that you're doing the blunder games. That's great. good. And you're doing some good work, man. You're doing some good work. And the good news is, I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to see you soon, boss, because you're about to graduate again. Okay, so well done. And that was Sergeant Tom. And now we have Eric Z. I'm going to guess New Hampshire. Classical games against members of my cohort with postmortem discussion and annotation. Great weekly routine. Think the Dojo Discord could have a section on chess podcast discussion. When new episodes come out, I would participate in the discussion of new episodes. Okay, interesting. A chess podcast discussion, like I assume you mean like just our podcast or just like everybody's, dude? But that would be certainly an interesting thing to do. The kind of feedback you get on YouTube comments is oftentimes so acrimonious that it's hard to, be constructive about it. So I understand where you're coming from. Sam's going to be over here, that's beloved bookkeeper, going to be at the tournament. So that's going to be really cool. I think we're going to have a dojo meetup at 7:30 tomorrow night. Hopefully that'll get together, Yeah. Okay. So let's look at Eric Z. Follow. Really cool that Eric Z is doing the USCF. Fantastic. It's all kind of those similar ratings there. Take a look. We'll back it up one to see how we got here. Lots of good work. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Uh-huh. One thing that's interesting is we kind of have a question like in general, how much time does it take to get a dojo point? And at least for like the later cohorts, it's 4 hours for a point. And maybe dude isn't logging all of his time efficiently, but yeah, I think at the lower cohorts or you're playing faster games in particular, you're not going to be 4 hours, say, for a game. Okay, cool. Let's see if we got a game here. We do. And this was played fairly recently. I think I might have looked at this because I went through all these games fairly recently. Bishop d3 is fine. And they should probably take. So now they lost the tempo. And now this is a classic mistake where there's no need for you to play c3, but you're doing it because you've seen somebody do this structure. Now you guys copycatting it? Yeah, you should have just taken it. Fine. Oh, frisky. Weird. Now, why is bishop e5 weird? Because you already moved it, right? So there's a variety of other things you could do here. The simplest, I guess, would be pop, pop, and see what happens. Something like that, right? All right. So c4, maybe. Maybe. This seems to be what you were on about. You're going for the cheap trick, okay. f3. And they should be thinking about h6 sooner rather than later. Thank you. And now you're crushing him, I think. Yeah. Knight takes... Oh! What about knight takes d6, bows? Knight takes d6, and that's it. Game over. Auf Wiedersehen. I mean, maybe it's Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye here, too, honestly. Yeah, why don't we just take? Okay, so here you can take it, and then, he's got to recapture, and then you got this, and it's just glorious. It's going to be mate in a couple moves. This one, you can still take it because you get the rook, right? And now we don't have mate. Now g6 would be the normal response here. This guy goes queen g6. Okay, interesting. Rook takes e5, followed by knight takes e3 is something black should think about. Bam! Now we exchange. It's kind of weird that you trade queens here because earlier it seemed like you were really afraid of trading queens. That's a spicy move. Rook f7, nice move because of rook e5, you have rook g7. Okay. Now, here, well, it's really weird because the guy could have taken on h6. You could think about rook hf1 here, which would not allow any of that from your opponent. Rook e7, boss. Nice. Check to the miserable. Yeah, there. Ooh. There you go, buddy. That's an over-the-board game. Yeah. So basic thing I want you to think about, Eric, here is the opening, don't give away time, right? The fact that you know this London stuff, it probably is detrimental in the sense that you're playing this just because you saw it in a different position. Instead of asking yourself, well, what's the right thing to do? Well, it's bring your knight out, you know? So there's that, but most importantly, in the annotations, pay attention to where stuff is hanging, right? We had a lot of hanging stuff that right around here, tactical phase goes down and black is lost, right? And we just need to do some annotations to, let's say, dial that in. Okay, so good job. We'll probably see Eric again soon. And next up we have Mate 2K, which just graduated like last week, dude. So let's take a look at Mate 2K. Mate 2K is not there though. Not there at 556. So we'll go back. Jason Hewitt. All right, let's follow Jason. Look at that. Dude, that's a pretty compelling graph, man. Okay. That a little bit of work to get here? Oh, actually, a lot of work to get here. Mostly tactics. Beautiful. Okay. I'll tell you guys a story. So I gave it to this kid, 9 years old, and his mom doesn't really know how to play, and then he was studying that book, and the mom beat him, kind of by chance, dude, by a fluke, and he started crying, and then he went and he locked himself in his room, and just studied that book. That's just nonstop, dude. I think he might be done now. Here's Fibo. All right. So, some great work over there. I have a feeling we're going to see a games. Yeah, Ambush, I was confused because I went to your profile and you had a cohort listed that was radically higher than your rating. So I was confused by the graduation. Fibo doesn't have any games. That's okay. Let's just click over here. Let's see if it's Blunder games. Got some Blunder games and games played. So it hasn't done any annotated games yet. Okay. And Ambush, I wanted to look at that because you were the one who alerted me to the fact, and I had just kind of forgotten it, that over Christmas I actually missed one. I thought I hadn't missed one, but I actually did. That's Boomer GM for you at work right there. So then we got Max Biermann. Started in October after 3 years of opening chess.com, playing, getting my clock clean, and putting it away for a while. I found the emphasis on longer games to be the best way to force myself to think slowly. At this point, the only thing shorter than 15-10 I play is Blitz for the Collegiate Chess League. Go Beavs, all right. Enjoying the system too, thinking and looking forward to some OTB. Nice, okay. This is great, man. How to beat your mom at chess. That's right, man. Fisheries science, Oregon State. Okay. Oh, nice, dude. Oh, this is cool. All right, so 717 definitely made it. Been in the program for a bit. Nice. And then we got, this is what dude did to get here. Looks great. Let's click on the tactics. Everyone's first chess workbook. Yeah. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, let's take a look. I'm hoping these are actually, well, they can't be OTB games. They sound like online handles. Okay, let's take a look. Now, so far, I'm mostly happy just because you're developing. Nice move from your opponent. Okay. Okay. Now, notice something kind of cool that you did here is all that other stuff we could have talked at length about, but you're absolutely right. Like, this is where it's decided. Your opponent found a nice move, and now we are down a pawn. Okay, we're going to call that a passive move. He should play rook takes c2. Uh-oh, now we're hanging our bishop. So we hung another pawn. Weird, he should play rook c8. Weird, now he could play rook e3 or something. Oh, this guy's cleaning your clock, boss. Yeah. So, the game was in fact decided on some blundering of pawns, right? Some blundering of pawns. A6, time. He's giving you time. Now, well, we don't have to talk too much about it, but I just want to stress, like, here, queen d2 is not a developing move. And so this is the point in the game where you need to start thinking about where the pieces might want to go, right? Because, you know, you've been pretty good about developing all your stuff. And now maybe bishop g5, for example. That's why it seems like we put the rook there, to open up the rook. Get something going over there. Okay. Now, of course, you could do a lot more work here, but I'm certain that at the moment, what's holding you back, it seems like you're doing some great progress, by the way, but it's holding you back is that you're hanging the stuff. That's right. And when you do the analysis, we all blunder things like bishop a3, grandmasters too. And, you know, take some time to think about, well, what else, if anything, could you have done? Maybe there wasn't anything, but we could ask it. Right? For example, is this a trick? Is the bishop trapped? Well, interesting question. Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe you can come out here, you know. And then we can start thinking about, like, what was the best options here for you? The best, like, it's bad, but what are the ways for you to try to do better? Because in the game you collapsed, and you helped him by trading everything off and then going passive here. Okay, Max. Someday I want to have a chat about triathlons, all that stuff, and fisheries science. I think I met somebody over the holidays who's doing like water stuff at Oregon. Though there's two Oregons. I know there's Oregon State and Oregon University. Do I know the difference? Not really. Okay, so you got Travo. Great work. 804. Beautiful. Also on the lead chess and USCF. Cool that you're on the USCF. OTB. We'll follow you here. Activity. And some good work. I have a feeling we're not going to see any games because it looks like somebody obsessed with tactics, which at this point in your career, if you're going to be just doing tactics, this would be the time to do it. Yeah. So we're going to see Travo again, but that was a pretty good, it was just a month or two, basically, and that happened. Let's call it a month and a half. So we'll see Travo again. Okay. So, I think the Goonch might be Max Bierman. The opponent was banned for fair play. Can I just say something about this? I have a student, and we were looking at some games. It was like 2 opponents in a row on chess.com who were cheaters, dude. It was just like, what? 2 in a row? Oh, that's dispiriting, man. That's dispiriting. Let's look at Caps chess here. I definitely got better as I played more and more, especially during OTB games where I'm learning from my own higher-rated opponents. Long-term goal of 1,800 FIDE. Okay, that's pumped. Okay, a streamer too. Okay, I wanna follow. I wanna see some of his streams. One thing we did with the show yesterday, we were talking about the dreams of. In particular, there was somebody in our Discord who was maybe around my age, the 50s, and then was like, I'm going to become 1,800. And so that set off an interesting discussion on the Discord. And then, of course, Neil Bruce, who's actually around 1,800, is talking about becoming a master, so 2,200 USCF. And we were just talking about how hard it is. Caps chess at 17, we got some chances. We got some chances for sure. And it looks like, really, Caps chess could graduate again if they wanted to. Okay, so let's take a look at Caps chess. How did they get here? Lots of good work. I have a feeling we're going to see some annotated games. Good. All right. Let's take a look over here. Monkey Business. All right, Dojo Classical round 3. Oh, I'm into it. Good. Bishop D3. Okay, this is actually not the dumbest gambit here. All right, so C takes D4. Okay. Castles, and now for where you are, Caps chess, Bishop C5 has to be fine. The better move here, and this is hard to know, it's scary to play, is F6. And the point of this move is that, I'm telling you some opening theory though, boss. You played just a nice Bishop C5 developing move. That we want to put the bishop here. We don't really care about this point. We want to collapse the white center now. Okay, Bishop C5, fine. 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 Okay, now, we could debate some of the white moves too. And now here he has Bishop H7, which is in many ways the point of his setup. So, although I'm sure this game hurt, this is a textbook thing that can go down. And you still have some practical chances after this happens. So let's take a look. Oh, you took, now you don't. Now you don't. You needed to take. And then knight G5, king G6. And at least here he has to think a little bit. about exactly the way this is going to go down. It is generally lost, but like I said, White's got to figure some stuff out, and this depending on the situation, because it's always looking a little different. It's harder or easier for White, and sometimes it's not even possible. But this would be the test here. Okay, so this went down. Wait, what exactly here? Well, that's a mistake, right? Dude should... No, excuse me, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. Check to the miserable. Knight of 7. I had planned everything. Everything that happens is the Greek gift until this point. I could have sworn it'd be a perpetual check situation. Oh. Well, let's just go back and think about this. So first of all, White isn't down anything, right? He's not down anything here. So all he would have to do is play bishop d2, and he's up 1,000 pawns, right? Knight of 7. Okay, queen e8. That isn't it. Yeah. Okay, so your opponent blundered a piece. All right, so now we're fully in business. Okay. Now, at this point, you have just one job, sir. Sir, you have one job, and that's to get this dude out and then this dude unlocked. Okay, so I have no idea exactly what happened, but critical now is for you to play a move like king c7 to get your boys out. And this rook h7, that's what we call playing with your pretty pieces, right? You got 3 pieces that are working and 2 that aren't. And you got to say, boss, these guys got to come out. Come out. You're still doing fine. And then, right, we're helping him a little bit here. And we're helping him again. By the way, look at this. If we're sensitive to this guy's plight, we're going to play b6. And now, arguably, the guy has more than enough compensation for his piece because those pawns are all running downtown. And actually, one of the cool things about this game, even though I'm sure it was a disappointment, is that you will get something like this again. And maybe next time you'll be White. And by this, I mean you just have this fascinating position where White is dominating you with his pawns. Now, there's some things that I would criticize here from the way White has played this. White should never have allowed this, for example. This is what we call a blockade. Maybe you're still losing, but he still shouldn't have allowed it. Oh, boy. Now it's getting hot. Now it's getting hot. I guess we're lost. It would have been nice to have kept the bishop instead of the knight. Whoo! Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. So, one thing, let's say a couple things. You prepare the French for your opponent, as that's the opening he performs the worst against. You know what I'm going to say. Where you are right now, it has nothing to do with the opening, right? Nothing. For your opponent, we really want to give them credit for knowing about bishop h7. In general, I would say that's not something that you would see in the under 1,000 cohort. You just wouldn't see it. So that's really cool. Maybe even the book, like How to Beat Your Dad at Chess, turned him on to it. I don't know, you know. But that was really cool that he saw it. Yeah. And of course, the big thing that went down over here is he's winning this position easily just by moving his bishop, right? And he blows it with that move. In a way, it's super clever because he's banking on rook f7, bishop g5. And then you play a nice move. And then I guess, unless there's something fancy here, you're winning. But you must fix your pieces at this point. Must fix your pieces. Okay. Hi, Abdul. So, great job, Scaps Chess. I want to see you stream Baus. That'd be fun. And next up, we got JT. The single, graduating several times here. Single biggest thing that's helped me with the program is game analysis and annotation. Putting in the work in those games makes doing calculation easier while playing successive games. Additionally, I had the goal of getting involved in sparring and plus-minus reviews during this cohort. I got a little bit of time on both, and both were helpful. I had practiced some of the sparring against the computer, and it was much more challenging and helpful to go against another person. Okay? The reviews of my games by others in higher cohorts was also extremely helpful in focusing some of my thoughts while doing analysis and annotations. Cool. Crossing 1,000 next time. Absolutely. So, 9:15. Amazing progress. Yeah, really strong progress. And tell us how old you are, Jay. we did the old man podcast yesterday. That was pretty good. So let's see first how you got here. Nice, that was good distribution. What do the tactics look like? Okay, good. And then we'll look at some games here. So this one was, I like the two when there's a difference between the date played and the upload date, in the sense that you should spend a little bit of time with the game before you just, push it out there into the world. Okay, so let's get into it. Little weird because now c6 helps black, but they don't see it. And what I want you to see with that is that you developed black's bishop, right? Or rather, see, 1, 2, and then you just got 1. So black gained a full developing tempo there. Lost the tempo. FE might be interesting to get your rook involved. No need to take on e7 right away. Okay. Good move. No. Good. I don't know. Probably 4. Good. Allows the fork. Bam! Nice move. You're absolutely right. Rook c5 is incorrect. And let me just say something obvious. I kind of blazed through a lot of that. And one of the reasons I went so fast is if I was talking a little bit more about, I don't know, some higher rated players, I would spend some time on the positional nuances. But where you are here, Jay, you want to focus on not giving away time, right? Noticing when somebody gives it away. And then precisely here. And so this is a great annotation because absolutely the guy needed to just give up one exchange. And that isn't it. This one I'm not a huge fan of because you're giving up the exchange when I don't think you need to. Right? In fact, I may think both players... Oh, I'm sorry. You had a... Kraai, shut up. He had a great idea. He had a great idea, boss. Give him a break. No, that was great. Okay. I take it all back. Rook d5 is fine. Good. Now it should be just a cleanup. Good. Okay. That was really well done. Let me say a couple things just about this. So you don't need to know anything about the opening and just to think about the principle. So what would be the moves? Here or here? Right? Because bishop b5, bishop d7, I think that's a fine move too. c6, they dominate your knight. So we're not helping ourselves by playing bishop b5. Notice that black gained a tempo. Notice that he lost the tempo with h6. Not actually, you know, it's just, you're just trying to trade the bishop, right? But the bishop's a chump over there. With fe, you could develop your rook. Might be interesting for black to actually stop you from coming in. And then that's bad. Couple of reasons. Look how powerful your knight is, Bows. And then also you're developing the queen. So this is also helping black's development. Right? Okay, good, JT. So next up we have Nate Yu, just getting started. Okay, let's take a look. Beautiful progress. And then we'll take a look. Yeah, just getting started. All right, probably no games. Oh, we do got a game. Okay. So, oh, it's a tournament in Baltimore. Well, dude, introduce yourself. Introduce yourself when we're at the club or whatever, dog. Okay. First ever classical game. Yeah, they have these little tournaments in Baltimore. You know, yeah, like rapid events. Sam's played in some of these. Totally cool. Okay. Okay. Good. Poor. Good. No, I think he needs to take because he needs to win the pawn on e5. And for that reason, I don't think you should be playing h3. By the way, when we go back to this move here, e5. My first instinct is absolutely abysmal. But maybe they can kind of sort of do this. Because if you take this way, and then, let's say, knight d7 or something, I guess they do gain the pawn back, right? So the way this goes, we should definitely look at de. The way this goes, here, it might be insane, but we could definitely consider bishop takes f7. This loses a tempo, though, because he wants to take, and then he wants to do that. Okay. Good that you brought out your guy. Good that you did that. He's a trading machine. Check to the miserable king. Obviously, then, rook d8 was a mistake. All right, and now knight d5 comes in. So here, this is a tactical situation where now we want to ask, are we winning this position? And the answer I'll tell you is I don't know yet. I don't know yet if we're winning. Knight d5 is definitely a natural move. So black's way out of this jam would be to play maybe c6, king c7, right? He said because it's a really powerful pin, and we need some way to use our knight so to get at him. And by the way, this critique applies to everybody. In these situations, you want to really spend some time in the post-mortem to see if there was a win. Well, we'd like to believe in your position here because you got the white squares. This guy can only help by blocking. But it's hard to see how we... Okay. No, it's hard to see how we're going to make progress here, honestly. Well, I'm not seeing it myself. Stronger, well, okay, no, I take it back. That's not right because of now c6 or knight c5. And I think one of the things that happens to you, and this happens to very strong players as well, is you are thinking that there's some way to knock him out, like I was. and then you went loco with it. And now we're probably worse here already, right? So in the annotations, you need to find a way to try to do something about it. So for example, if bishop f5 looks like we're still losing this pawn, and it's a bad business once we lose a pawn. But that's better than, of course, losing a piece. He could have played knight takes e6 too, as far as I could tell. And now we're toast, yeah. Simple chess. Oh, simple chess. Okay. So, Nate. Good, dude. Good. I think clearly you're, especially as a good start for an annotated game. And then we'll get more from you soon, because I can tell you just started the program. And that's great, man. All right. Player to be named later. Look at this guy. This guy's graduating all the time. I was looking at knight b5 too, Kraai, but I couldn't figure it out. I'm graduating to my correct cohort, 1,000, 1,100, according to my Lichess. I still don't think I'm that strong yet, but I can always go down a cohort if my rating drops. Excited to get in more work and crack open the new books. Nice. Okay. I took a little time off myself over the holidays. Look at these graduation belts, Baos. Started in May 23. I was wandering around the vast wilderness of chess content until I found my way to the dojo. Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's great. So, let's look at the activity and we'll see how they got here. Good. And then we'll go games. Oh, we got loads of games. All right. Take a look. So far, fine. Fancy chess, honestly. Maybe you're playing a genius. One thing I want you to just see about this is that on bishop b5, when you play a6, you are giving up a tempo because pawn moves aren't developing moves. And then he gets the strong knight, and we have to do that. And then honestly, c5 is a world-class move because now it's going to be hard for us to, do something with our bishop. And our bishop on d7 is so bad. I like knight e4 a lot. I don't know about that move, though. That looks wrong. And it looks like you're seeing that bishop h4 is very strong indeed. So then 2 weird moves by white, g4 and then f3, and then you had him. And now we might be lost after h4. Okay, good. Okay, good. 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 Oh, you're making some progress. Bam! Oh, no, man. Wow. Maybe your opponent's rated 1,500. Okay. That's a good move. So your opponent, I want to stress, you're playing his 1,500. He played some great moves. If it wasn't ODB, I'd be like, this guy's cheating. But it's ODB. But he played some great moves and then some weird moves with like G4 and then F3 in particular. But you know, beside, and then this is really where the game's decided. The rest, like he's got a nice positional bind on you in this situation. And G4 itself, maybe not so bad, but F3 is just catastrophic, right? Yeah. Okay, so, and that's a good variation that you got there. All right, good, good. It would be cool, actually, too, at some point, put down, oh, there's your USCF. Good, all right. At some point, it doesn't have to be right away. Put in your USCF as your default rating. Okay, next up, we got Ted Gecko. Okay, let's take a look. Oh, well, Ted Gecko's got it, man. Look at that. Beautiful USCF graph. It's so cool. We got more and more people doing the USCF. And we'll go back one. Beautiful work. All right. And then we got some games. We don't have any games yet. So I click this thing. Okay. So, Ted, we're hoping to see more games next time around. Looks like you're on track, though. All right. So, then we got TNB. Maybe we should have more annotated games than the cap of 30. I feel like playing long format games and annotating them is always helpful, even past the 30. Oh, I understand what you're saying. So at first I didn't get it. So he's talking about at this cohort, I think there's only 30 annotated games. But now that you've graduated, you got to reboot from the start, and there will be more. And the intention with that is like the number of annotated games, we're basically suggesting that if you're really stuck at a plateau and you did everything in the program, that's what you would need to get to the next level if you were truly stuck, right? Okay, so here we go, TMB. Luftbrain. Okay, let's follow Luftbrain. And then we got some activity. Let's go back one. Oh, that's some good work, dude. That's some great work. We look at the training plan. And good. And actually, that's cool. I can go back one. And I was looking at this because he was talking about the cap of 30 games, and I wasn't sure exactly if we were talking about the same thing, but that would show up here. But it looks like it hasn't been marked. But here it's marked. That's a little confusing to me. All right, let's take a look. Me versus the villain. Let's take a look. Good. Okay, so now you guys all know I don't like it when people do too much opening at this level. This is already really highfalutin stuff that white is playing. Black, honestly, as well. So, castles. H3, probably inaccurate. Rook E1 does seem more normal. I don't know what you're trying to do. So one of the challenges, actually, in this position is now that we've got this highfalutin setup, how do we develop our pieces? And the problem generally that I see from people who are trying to do fancy openings is then when they get to somewhere like this, they continue to be fancy. And the key thing you got to understand is this knight has to get fixed. So the reason we wanted rook e1 before is we got to fix the knight, right? The knight sometimes could go here, but we got to fix him. Okay. Okay. So he likes white a little bit better. Maybe. Not sure what that does. Right, and one of the things you can see actually about this game is I think you were at a loss of how to deal with the knight in general, right? And maybe weren't seeing the rook e1 knight f1 plan, but now, you know, you'll get this position again, and then you'll be able to do it. We're going to go ahead and say d5. I don't know if d5 is such a great move because it does allow you, give you the square of knight c5. If black just sits on the position, I don't know where the knight on b3 is going, right? Now, probably incorrect. You talk about queen c2. We can imagine queen e2 as well. E takes d5 doesn't make sense to me. But it is true that you're basically just in big trouble now, no matter what, with knight c5, because your pawn's being attacked. Right. On e d5, you could also play queen d5, bishop f2, all that stuff looks fine for him. Okay. Now, are we toast? I definitely don't like this queen d8. Okay, now here's something I want to say. At this level, at a GM level, you're lost. But at this level, you're not toast. Okay? And I'll stress that this move makes some good sense to me. And there's ways in which this can, you know, go wrong for black. Yeah, it's not super easy. At some point, we're going to put something on the b file, right? And I didn't put it on the b file before because I didn't want the knight taking. So yeah, here you still have good practical chances. This is a kind of comment that you'll see a lot, kind of like I'm toast, but you're not. You're not toast yet, boss. Trust me, if it was time for you to resign, I would tell you to resign. I would be the first one. But here you still have good practical chances. I think Abdul's asking what's wrong with taking the pawn. I'm sure you can do it, but we're going to play here, and then we're going to put a rook on d1, and this rook is misplaced, and until that rook figures its life out, I'm not going to resign. Right? I'm not going to resign. Okay. I think Abdul meant knight b5. Yes, knight b5, rook fd1. And I'm sure technically we're lost, but that's not the point. The point is black still has some incongruencies in their position to figure out. All right, here we go. Next up, we got Jimmy 2X. To be honest, I have the feeling that I was placed in too low a rating cohort. That said, I really like the sparring positions. Those are very useful, and I think each rating cohort can use even more of them. Okay, cool. Let's check out Jimmy 2X. And nice, after 20 years. Okay, nice. Let's follow Jimmy 2X. And yeah, it looks like they got some good push here, 1242. You know, probably in the right cohort. I don't know. Let's see. Go back one. And that's some good work. Yeah. Click on the end game. Good. We'll click on the tactics. Okay, we even got a couple mate and twos going on here. Let's see, we got some games. This is Jimmy 2X over here. Okay. All right. So, you guys have heard it before. And what White is doing here is playing a setup. Okay. And has gotten themselves like some books on the issue. And in general, I find at this level it's not helpful. Again, why? Because a lot of what usually happens is that because they're committed to like the structure, they lose sight of the basic principles of what's going on. We'll see if I'm right. So far, this is all GM play from both sides. B6. I don't like it, but I think that is a move. Rook e1, good. And then that's definitely a mistake. Right? They get terrified. Okay. So, let's back it up and just talk about the position for a little bit. And this is what I really think is important for players at this level. Any level, you got to be able to do it, but to be able to think about what's happening. So, for example, in this position, I would say that this is our problem piece. It wasn't bad that we put it there. I understand you wanted to support e4 and everything, but that's our problem piece because it's dominated by this pawn. And once this happens, we got to say, oh, that was not a tempo, and my knight will now have loads of jumps, right? So, you write e d5, knight d5, and now knight g5. Maybe, maybe, that's pretty, we got to be dealing with queen g5. I didn't spot a good continuation of the attack. Okay. So, let's see. They just give knight g5. So this is what I'm saying about the knight. Well, that's the question right there. And this is what I mean from just positional understanding, right? Black lost a tempo and set us free. And it's time to, so let's be free. And I think it's all gone here. It's all the way gone. On bishop g4, we have a choice between h3, and then we can also consider the highfalutin knight e5, bishop d1, knight c6 also looks winning. Okay, good. So instead, knight f1. And this is what I mean about these openings corrupting the souls of young men. Because the knight going to f1 is something that will generally happen in a position like this. At some point, white plays knight f1. Okay? And then why? Because they want to play this and this and this, and the party continues, right? And that's what they would have showed him in his book. So the reason dude is playing knight f1 now is because in his book he's remembering that kind of stuff instead of thinking about what's going on in the position. Again, did I call it, boss? Did I call it? Wait, time out. Time out. I just want everyone to acknowledge that Boomer GM is a genius. Because what did I say? I said the problem with players learning and opening at this level is that instead of focusing on the principles of the position, they start doing routine moves that they remember from the book. But your opponent's been doing weird stuff for a couple moves, but made the disastrous decision to play e5. So no, we don't want to play h4. H4 is for the position I just showed with e5, right? With this kind of thing. Then we're going to play for knight f1 and h4. Not after e5. So this is what I'm saying, my friends. Trust the program. I know it's hard to not study some opening book. Note to self, read this. See page 39 of Secrets of Opening Prep. No, do not see page 39. Go over your games and think about what's going on in these positions. Okay, so here we go. D4, also controversial. Also controversial. Why? Because now he actually gave you a big break by closing the censor. And now we can start thinking of creating an attack on our side of the board. That's the whole idea of this opening. Okay? And what does c3 do? It's playing on black's side of the board. So we need to start thinking about things like bringing our coconuts to the king's side of the board. A very standard plan that's not intuitively obvious at first is to play this move. There's other ways of doing this, but the main point is to bring the lady in, force count. We're going to start attacking black. Another way to do it would be here, again, and then if h6, knight h3, what do we want? We want to bring the lady in. We want to bring everybody in and kill, right? That's the idea of this opening. And your opponent doesn't get it, play d4. Now the center is locked, and you have potential to play what we call a King's Indian structure. A little frisky in my view, potentially freeing your bishop on g2. Bishop g5. We could think about a lot of different moves here, though, my friend. The crusher, I think, is knight g5. What has he got going there? I got two threats. Check to the miserable king, followed by knight f7. And I got ef with the smackaroonie and just the general opening of the business. Right? Opening my rook. Opening the bishop, of course. Maybe opening this knight square. Everything's going my way. It looks like they're handing you a pawn here. Check to the miserable. Okay, good. Frisky. Bam! Good move. Good move. Good move. Rook e4. So this says key inaccuracy according to the computer. So the computer might not help either because, look, what you want to talk about in this position is the fact that you've got one pretty piece. Let's say your pawn's not a piece, but it's pretty. You got some pretty stuff, right? And you've got some unpretty stuff. The unpretty stuff needs to be set to work. When you play rook e4, you're playing with your pretty pieces, right? So the reason the computer wants rook d1 is give that thing a job, you know? I'm assuming that knight d3, by the way, was the problem. Because now we got this bad boy hanging. There's things of knight c5 coming that we're maybe not too happy with. Good. Okay. Okay. Weird. Good. I like that you connected the pawns. Good. Okay. Now, what do I want you to do? I want you to bring the knight in. He's just sitting there. Just like in the opening, now we're in the end game and we want to start bringing our people in. The knight needs to find a job. A nice square would be knight here. This is also a nice square for the knight, but the knight needs to do something. Good. 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 Oh, bravo, really. Nice. There we go, Vaus. There we go. Okay. Maybe we're going to make fun of you, Jimmy. Wait. It's not going to be in a mean-spirited way. It's just, we've seen it so much of beginning players learning an opening and then doing like some routine move that they've seen in some other situation instead of focusing on the principles at stake. Yeah. I don't know. But that one was really interesting and telling. Let's just see here. All right. So, Jimmy, you're doing great, buddy. All right. Okay, here we go. Next up is ARD. ARD, that was a little confusing to me because ARD was graduating last time too. Let's take a look. ARD is definitely there, just crushing it, obviously. Started fairly recently. Let's take a look. And we're going to go back one. ARD's flying up there, obviously. You know, just crushing it. What's going on? Let's look at some games. Now, I might have looked at these already because he graduated last time too. I don't ever remember it if it's just the first couple moves. Oh, maybe I do remember this. I'm just looking at it. Yeah, I do remember this. Yeah, we looked at this game. Maybe I'll just take a look at the other one. Okay. Good. Okay, now what I want you to see, this is really important. Knight d5 takes knight e7. Lost 2 tempo for white. 2 tempi. 1, and then when he took, it wasn't just a simple trade. You got to make a developing move too. Loss of tempo. Unnecessary. That you could have done the move before. Loss of tempo. Loss of tempo. Good. Well, you see, interesting. Nice. Check to the miserable king. Right. You don't want to play bishop takes c2. Takes. Okay, that's an interesting position. And dude plays bishop d4. Knight e4. Rook c1. Knight c3. Good. I like the note. Rook c1, d2. Very nice. Very nice. Rook d3. And now knight b5, which looks at least natural. Now, what do you have here? You have yourself a very interesting endgame where I feel it's, right on the cusp of can white hold this thing or not. So, some big annotations on the move, knight e4. Let me just see what you've got here. One thing that's a little confusing to me about knight e4 is that I don't really understand what the threat is, or what your intention is. Also, it's not immediately obvious, at least to me, what the problem with knight b5 is. One move that looks strong for you here is to play d6 because bishop takes rook d8. And then if dude goes away, then we can, I don't know, man, well, we got problems there, honestly. It's not so simple either if he just goes away because he can play a4 next. So, we could definitely play rook c5, though, followed by d5. Right? That looks reasonable. So what am I trying to say? I think knight b5 is a very natural looking move for you to play that way. And we're right on the cusp between like being able to press this guy or it just being a draw. This does not feel right to me because you just helped develop the white king. King e3 looks better than king f3. Then they chuck the pawn. Why? Why are they chucking the pawn? Now, let's just say this transformation was definitely in your favor because now that pawn on d7 was very hard to activate in any meaningful way, whereas the a pawn, we have more chances to do so. A big bummer for us is that this bishop is talking to that square. However, the move f6, which I think we should play fairly soon, will put a question on where that bishop wants to go. I.e., it's not clear to me the bishop is allowed to stay on that diagonal because we own all of this. We can fight for all of the squares. For example, I don't think you want that. You know, rook d2, and now I push, you know, and I'm coming downtown. So, I'm not sure I understand rook a3. This is probably just helping you. And now you go a4. Again, what do we want? We want you to play f6. f6 really puts the bishop in a wrong spot. I don't know about f4. Okay. And now here I don't like this because now the bishop, you know, will have more squares to hide on after we eventually play f6. Oh. That wasn't the right square. That wasn't it. White should play king f5. I think. Yeah, king f5. Now we just lost the business. Okay. Now, one of the things that struck me in this is you criticized knight b5 and did this whole thing on the analysis when knight b5 looked fine. But then here is where in the analysis, even what you did, I liked, for whatever reason, I don't intuitively, I don't want to let the king out, right? But, and I like rook c5 just in general principles better. But what you did, well, here the guy, maybe I'm the one who has to come off of it, huh? I'm the one who has to come off of it. No, what you did was fine. In fact, maybe we got to say the bishop e5 move was really incorrect. Because now he's just in pain. Anyways, you just needed to find this move f6 here. And I think it's really hard. And there's a lot of endgame studies that are a little bit like this where we're just visualizing all the squares of the bishop. And if we can knock him off that diagonal, then it really is woe is me kind of situation. Armin, thank you very much. Don't play with your pretty pieces. That's right. Okay, let's continue. We're at the 1200 to 1300 here. All right, let me just make sure no one's shouting at me on Discord here. No. All right. So, newsfeed. We're doing fine for time here. You know what we're going to do, actually? I'm going to take a quick break. My mouth is dry, and then I'll be right back. Let's say 5 minutes. Let's keep going. Next up, we got Simon. 1308. Beautiful. How did they get here? Loads of endgame. Wow, he's just flying on the endgame. Simon is over here. Okay, let's see if we got some games. No. So Simon got here with the he's focused on the endgame. He's focused on the endgame. ChessCom rating. Beautiful latest stretch. Good. Okay. Is this the end? No. No, this isn't the end. We're just beginning. This is a break. Okay. Next up, we got Coach K. Being part of the dojo has given me the confidence to start participating in OTB. Okay, beautiful. I'd love to hear that. I'm an adult player that is striving to improve my game while also being involved with my family, community, and somehow also chess. Nice. And their Discord name is Always Dying. I like that. All right. I think, that might be even a Buddhist thing. We're just, this body's a corpse kind of thing, This body's a corpse. Cool that you've got the USCF going on and that you made it, of course. So I like to see that. We'll take a look at how you did it. Good. Great macro distribution. Lots of hours spent. Nice. And then we got some games. Boom. This looks like a 45 plus 15. Spicy. So, let's just say something obvious. Knight df3 is only something you would do if you saw some fancy opening stuff, right? Otherwise, you would play either bishop d3 and c3, or you would play maybe here and then c3. Okay, so all right. Now, before I get too testy with the openings, I'll say that you are allowed formally to start doing your white openings at 1300, right? Now, this is a big moment. I'm not sure yet either. This is, I do feel that if we have to take, that black will be fine. I think black's probably fine anyway. But if we have to take, they got to be okay. They could consider certainly taking with the queen. And of course, knight e2 is the more normalish idea. Okay, pop, 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 and then black goes for it with e5. Now, e5 is a very ambitious move, right? And if it works, then black is better. So for example, if bishop c2, I think we have to say that black is doing great unless white has some magical souse, like building the position with bishop e6 or castling. They don't have to do the bishop takes f2. So here black got very creative and played pop. Now, he could have also played knight e4. It's getting frisky. Okay. Oh, it's interesting. Now, right. The pivotal moment in the game. Now, for what it's worth, I like your annotation here with ED4. I believe, yes, maybe you can be a touch. Well, we have to check it actually. Because the problem is you can't do this because of that. And so you're talking about pop, queen d4. But worst case scenario for this guy, he's got queen b2 on you, man. That's not nice. Right? He's up some stuff. Okay, so maybe knight e4 is also good, but ed4 looks like this is actually very problematic for black. Wait, wait. What you could do here is you could, maybe it's not so simple. Okay, so here's the variation we'd have to look at. Pop, pop, pop. This way we take back, I don't know actually. I was hoping that our king would have somewhere cool to go to here, but I'm worried about the rook spanking us on g8. We might not be done yet though. Rook here. And I know this is a little highfalutin, but king f7, we probably want to talk about that move. We got ourselves some complications, right? Whew. Okay. Let's take a look first at what happened in the game. It feels like black should be winning this now. All right. And yeah, this is of course beautiful for black. Now you're saying that bishop c6 is a mistake and that you should play bishop d3, but the problem there is all your stuff is hanging bows, right? You know, he's got dc3, he's got queen takes b2. None of it's any fun. So we're in a bad spot. And that's surprising to me. I thought for sure queen takes b2. And your variation is check, though. Good. Yeah, this is a good variation. Very nice. Very nice, dude. Okay. Very nice. Nice variation. So wait a second. Now I'm confused. So I think bishop takes c6. You got to do it, dude. If you can get this position out of what you had, then this is what we want. Because now you can trade queens. Now you're not dead. You're not dead here. I really like these annotations, by the way. These are great. Let's just read why you feel like it's so terrible here. It's in this position that I realize that I'm significantly worse. Well, we should say something. But first of all, that you got this far, we have to just give joy and thanks to, because with that whole shakedown that happened with bishop f2, I'm going to go and say you were probably lost, and now you're not completely lost. Should bishops also get the en passant ability? Explain in detail. I actually got some tea today, Abdul. I'm gonna meditate on the bishop's en passant thing. So, right. So, all right, let me get rid of the arrows for a second. Bishop e3, rook e8 looks like a good move from your opponent. I'm not, well, we're going to look at, there's another option there that I think you had to think about. Maybe not. Let's say you went here. And you're right about this, maybe an improvement. And then you talk about bishop a6. Good. Bishop a6, though, at least... You know what, Ishmael, I'm coming around. I'm coming around to your pessimistic view of the position that you are in deep doo-doo here. I'm coming around. It took me a while, but I'm coming around. Let me try knight d2, though. And my intention would be that if rook a e8, which would be the one to scare me, then I'm going to leave dodge. Oh, I can't leave dodge. My king already moved, boss. Here's no more leaving dodge for you. Yeah, okay, Ismail, you totally convinced me, boss. This is terrible. Yeah, bishop a6. No, we're in deep. We're in real deep here. Okay. I could try knight d4 maybe. It's no one's happy here though. I'm just going to acknowledge it. So bishop e3. Now we're lost. Do I have better advice? I'd love to think I do, but I don't. Well, definitely not king e2, right? I guess the best thing under the circumstances is to play, sadly, like here. Let him win a pawn, and then come up. And then, you know, we're much worse. Maybe if we're playing Carlsen, we're lost, but we still, at my chump level, we still have chances to hold this thing. Okay, but this is what we're going to call loss of tempo. And c5 is really weird because the difference now in the last variation is now with the rook penetrating, he's going to get the 7th with check too, you know, and it's going to be evil. Plus he can bring this guy over. So this is a weird move. Uh-oh, that's not good. Now you play h4, but look, you just go king d1, Baus. King d1. Hasn't he really blown it here? Yeah, your opponent got way too fancy. Way too fancy. Okay, so right. That's a bad move. Thank you for the pawn. And our knights gets a nice outpost. Now, I'm a little confused why we didn't go king g3, right? I love my knight on d4. Now we really wish we were back on d4. Okay. Key thing, when you're down the exchange, you don't want to exchange your rooks. It's a diversity of forces principle, right? His rooks are reduplicating their function, and you had all these 3 delicious minor pieces that they're kind of doing their own thing. Don't let him in, Baus. Don't let him in. I don't understand g6. Good. And now this is a technical endgame. We'll see how he does. So far, not very convincing. So, yeah, black has not done this in any way convincing. Let's look at your variation. Yeah, you're lost. Okay. And F4, bishop F6, king takes. And then he's just barely winning this, isn't he? Oh, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. Ooh. Okay, Coach K. Good annotations. I really appreciate this. Yeah. So, highfalutin. And then here, it's really important to see, right, where we're freeing him. Maybe we have to take, but we're freeing his pieces. And then here, what's interesting is you are thinking that E5's not a great move, but it's definitely something the guy would like to do. Look at those pawns. If he can keep the pawns there and open his pieces up, of course he wants to play E5. Whew, this was spicy. All right, so for my own personal sense, I want to just see, like, what was the cleanest way for black to deal with you here. So we had knight E4. That's really interesting, isn't it? Knight E4. So here's the problem. Interestingly, when he plays knight E4, you don't get to, he doesn't get to check on B2. And now, when he does come in with queen D4, it's a hassle because it's threatening to trade queens, which black does not want to do. And also, he kind of tricked himself in an interesting way with knight E4. It looks so natural. It's hard to believe that it could be wrong. I think castles is an interesting move because you can't move your knight, right? We might then see play like bishop E3. Let's pretend he is threatening it here now. Takes. Yeah, so you got to take this thing. See, right. And what's the point? Now when you recapture, I get this pawn. And it's a big deal. And white's totally lost. But castles is obviously a move that's not the super easiest to trust yourself to even find, right? Castle legally, yeah. Okay. Tactful is spamming the chat for things I don't understand. So, let's continue. That was great. Coach K, beautiful analysis, right? You're going to make it, man. You're going to make it. This is the heart of what you're doing. And if you are a coach, I mean, it sounds maybe you're a chess coach, I don't know. This is the kind of thing where you're setting a great example for your estudiantes. And I love the endgame analysis. Well, they could have gone deeper. In particular, like black, we should have been looking for ways for black to be a little bit more clinical here. Like obviously D4 was a mistake. But hopefully I said some things that were helpful. And then where it was really interesting, of course, was this whole situation where we were doing a dance. And right, I mean, are you in fact losing after, say, bishop f6? Actually, here you give a nice variation. Let's look. Boom, boom, boom. By the way, we don't have to take on b2. But it looks like we're fine here. Good. I like the arrow. That's absolutely right. So after bishop f6, well, maybe it's equal. Yeah, Black's really done himself in here. Great game. Great. Okay, let's go back. And now coming up, we have Phigius. Now let me just say, you guys, Phigius is a star of the dojo. When we started Dojo 1.0, we were working on a Google Doc, dude, and Phigius was helping us out. Yeah. So, lots of work being done. Father in chess playing Kiwi that lives in Copenhagen. Now, you got to be pretty fancy to know how to say Copenhagen, but that's how I think they say it. So, congratulations. That's a great graph. Phigius, you've been putting in the work, dude. Okay, so we're going to go back 152 hours, my friends. Let's just say an obvious thing. The more you go up, the more competitive it's going to be, the more time you're going to have to invest. Right? Sweat work, not just playing the blitz or yada yada. Let's take a look at one of Phigius's games. All right. Quad XC says Copenhagen. H3. Yeah. Right. Now, H3 is going to be let's just talk basics. Your opponent is now playing for space, and you are getting some development in return, right? Good. Now, this is actually theory, but I don't think you need to know that it's theory to play reasonable moves here. And this move b5, right, it's been talked about since before the pre-computer times. Rook e8, a6, a4, knight d7. Good. Good. Now you have a first little question. One thing I feel like I understand from these positions is the white player generally doesn't know what to do. And in particular, what the plan for white has to be is to avoid exchanges at all costs and to play for space. So, for example, knight h5 is, I think, a mistake because white can instantly now play g4 and send the knight home. Now, you could say to yourself, ooh, that looks kind of loosening. And it is a little loosening, but it's about space. And this is horrible because now we're getting two squares that he just gave us. And the bishop needs to go back all the way to f1 because we want to trade a piece. We are desperate to trade pieces here. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Delicious. Delicious. Now I'd much rather be black. Two bishops, everything's going our way. Now, one of the things I want to point out is, if you're going to play this opening, for example, that dynamic that I just described, where if you can exchange a piece or two, you're doing great. If you can really understand that enough to like give his moves question marks, then, you know, I really feel like you're on the path. Good move. Good move. And then, at least on principle, that's also a good move. Oh, that I guess he had to do it though, huh? I guess if I was annotating this game, I'd be interested in looking at rook b3. Is that, did you give that one? Rook b3. It's still good for you. Yeah, good move, rook a b8. Okay. Oh, wait. Wait, what are you doing? Why aren't you playing AB, Baus? AB! AB! This will give us an opportunity to talk a little bit about what the ideas of this opening are. The whole thing with black, let me just put it, let me give you my little spiel. So the Benoni is a cousin to the Benko. In the Benko, we give up a pawn on the queen side, and white gets the center, and we're saying we might not lose because of our counterplay on the queen side. With the Benoni, we're saying we might not lose because of our potential passed pawn on the queen side. So definitely AB, and then we start pushing those babies, right? And the great news for us is because white traded off all their stuff, there are no longer any pieces for white to dominate. That's the whole reason to have the space advantage, right? So I love your position here after AB5. You give pop, and then here, and here you have a variety of good moves in this position. The most basic of which I think is C4. And you're doing great. Doing great. At some point, we're going to put a rook on A2. Maybe we could have done it last move too, right? Okay, so queen b5, b3, and now I'm uncertain about maybe it's equal or something like that. F5. All right, he's got a tactic on you. Whoa, okay, A1. Now, is this something I understand? I don't get it. Okay, I think, boss, we got to take this pawn. We got to take this pawn. Now, is this a bad position for us? Probably, but we still got to take that pawn. And then on rook A1, he's got to take this pawn. What are we talking about? You wanted to play maybe bishop H6? I don't know. I don't know, but in any of these moves, he's got GH, and then he can check us somewhere with the rook, you know. And now, boss, we got to take the pawn. We got to, well, okay, maybe let's try this. Okay, here we go. Is this simply a winning endgame for black? Okay. My intuition would say no, but let's see. It would be nice, Figius, to say a couple words on why you feel this is winning. Right? Let's talk basics. If he's winning, it's because this bad boy has an urge to run, and the king kind of needs to stick by the sides of the side of that pawn. On a negative note, though, well, maybe. It's complicated. So here would be a great opportunity to really go deep. White plays G4. I would say that's one of the candidate moves. But King E3, F4, not 100%. We're just simply going to win that bad boy. Because when you start running, that's when I start coming back. And then I start winning your business once I come back. So yeah, we should analyze this thing. I think white probably made your life easier there, but let's take a look. And then you talk about F4. I think this is a good analysis. So H5. Good. G5, H4. I'm assuming this is totally lost. One nice thing is we could probably play C4 here, but that's just nicer to finish the game off. Just like, no, boss. You don't even get to play King G4. Okay, King F4. Boom, he goes. Good. 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 And now it's toast. I'm assuming King takes was also winning. Yeah, but that's a nice finish. Beautiful. Oh, Figures, that was great, man. One thing I want to say about this level of studying openings, which is a little bit higher, is what's really important is your opponents. See, look, actually, the interesting thing would be to criticize White, because White plays this fancy move that maybe they learned in a Chessable course, right? And I'll just say I know what the Chessable course is thinking is that on knight f3, there's this idea here, and I'm mismentioning it because it's key to understanding what Black wants to try to do, which is to trade off a minor or two. If you trade off a minor or two, minor piece, you will relieve your spatial congestion, which is your major problem, right? So H3 is a very highfalutin way to try to get around that. Anyways, what am I saying? The dynamic with space and trading pieces, which I feel both players didn't really understand, and the ideas of the opening, that's where you'll become very strong in this beautiful, beautiful Benoni that you're playing. Okay, great. Let's go. Figius is an old champion. You see Dojo 1.0, the badge of honor. That's like, what is it like? What is it like? Apple, they got the, I don't even know it's Apple, but they, like which employee number you are. You know, Figius is up there, dude. It's not as, the people are the first people to join the dojo. Dojo's been around for years now, man. We, you know, even before we had the training program, we had the dojo. Bucky Barnes. Looking good, Bucky. Okay. And let's go back one. Good. All right. Easy lifestyle for Bucky over here. Just cranking it with ultra violence. They got a feed A2. Okay. And let's see, we got some games. We do. So, this is Omar. Okay, good. And B6 is worse than giving up a pawn because now all the light squares are shot. Boom. Now, it's kind of an interesting moment here. Do we want to take? I think so. Good. Good. Beautiful. And somehow, it still seems a little bit unfair to me, somehow the game's not over yet. I like that variation with bishop h2. Very good. Simple chess. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, enough of the thank yous, Kraai. No, it's just well done. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's why. We're going up in the cohorts, my friends. The chess is getting a little bit better. So, yeah. And Black can do a variety of things here. Knight c6, e6, all kinds of stuff. And this definitely looks bad. And this also needs to be stressed. It's better just to give up the pawn than to play chess like that. Just give it up instead of, you know, because here after b6, all your light squares are toast. And if I was going to give Black some advice, you know, maybe we'll try g6. I don't know. It's obviously not the most pleasant thing. Okay, Omar. Looking forward to seeing more, man. That's good. All right. We've got a couple more here to go. And we got Heart of Stone. Nice. And we got over here. Looks like we might not have any games, but Polgar Mates and 2 boss going all the way up to 1500. Nice. Games? No. Mate and 2s, boss. Mate and 2s. That's the way it was done with Heart of Stone. Not a bad way to make it. Hopefully we'll see some games soon. Lance Fleischer. It looks like they're not in the right cohort. So go back. And then we got Oh no! Oh no's here, Vows. Does he have games? Oh no, you guys, runs a cool chess podcast. Check him out. I was on his podcast, and you know, he would like to maybe do some coaching here. I hope he does. And then, you know, so he's just getting onboarded here. So it's not maybe an official graduation. Also, he plays, he has a Dutch rating. And by the way, I think an example of the little ways in which the dojo is always improving is we're going to try to get those Dutch ratings on here as well. Okay, so that's Ono. We'll probably see a proper graduation at some point from Ono. And then we got Jacques. Now let me just tell you, my friends, when you get up here, it's harder. I wish I knew more about Jacques. This is a German dude, Deutsche Wetzahl over here. And then, let's just see here. They did some good work, mostly games and analysis. We're probably going to see a game here. All right. No, we're not. Okay. Well, maybe Jacques. Why don't I click this here? Seems like he's got some annotated games. Hold on. Jacques, where's the games, Bows? Where's the games? Oh, all right. So, Quadexy is saying that I got my Kuppenhauer not quite right. I thought it was pretty good, dude. That's pretty good. And it was the Haven. In German, it's Hafen, is like the port, whatever you want to call it, where the ships come in. And Kuppen means the merchants. So it's the merchants' port, Kuppenhauer. But of course, everybody says Copenhagen, you know? And I'm just, you know, the jerk was saying Kuppenhauer, and Quadexy is saying that even that I'm not doing right. I'm trying. Can I at least get some points for trying, Bows? Can I at least get some points for trying? Okay, you guys, I'm out of here. That was a great graduate show. I'm going to raid somebody here. Yeah, there's so many people to raid. There's so many people to raid. There's, you know. Let's raid Kugelbuch. We have some Germans on the show here. I have a feeling Kugelbuch is maybe streaming in German. I'm not sure. Dude might not have his shirt on. I don't know. Might saying controversial things. I don't know. I'm just raiding Kugelbuch. And I'm playing, not tomorrow, but I'm traveling tomorrow. I might do a brief stream in the morning, but I am flying on an airplane tomorrow to play in Charlotte. I'm going to hopefully see some dojo people. 7:30, we're having a get together. If you can't make it, we'll probably do something later on. But the first get together, Sam's going to be there too, beloved bookkeeper, and we're going to hang out with other, you know, we'll see you even if you're not there on that first Friday night. Bye, everybody.